Do you smell that? That, my friends, is the scent of sweet nostalgia. Now, this video might be a little bit limited to some of my British brethren who grew up in the 90s and the noughties, but I'm hoping those of you that do recognise the shows in this tier list are going to thrive on the nostalgia. I've always wanted to do a tier list, but I've never really known what to do. A lot of people do things on video games, and maybe I'll do one of those in the future. Bands might do one of those in the future as well. But what I'd like to cover are children's TV shows from the 90s and the noughties for British kids. So as a quick rule, something I'm not including in this tier list is anything that's sort of imported from America. So there's no Cartoon Network stuff, no Nickelodeon stuff, just that sweet CBBC and CITV era shit. There will be some shows missing from this list because I had to sort of condense it down to make sure that this made a snappy and interesting video. So if there are any shows that weren't included in this, make sure you tell me down in the comment section below, and I'm sure we'll talk about them. Behold, my tier maker tier list of various children's TV shows from the 90s and noughties. So I'm going to rattle off quickly our little list of things that we've got here. See if you recognize them. So we have Art Attack, Live and Kicking, Bernard's Watch, Blue Peter, Brum, Biker Grove, Chucklevision, Come Outside, Dick and Dom in Da Bungalow, Get Your Own Back, Grange Hill, Jungle Run, Ka-Ching, Mona the Vampire, My Parents Are Aliens, Noddy, Pingu, Raven, Smart, SMTV Live, The Queen's Nose, The Demon Headmaster, The Worst Witch, Aquila, Sooty and Sweep, Kipper, Tracy Beaker, and of course, Zap. Ah, it was a terrible show. The 5 tiers that we've got are God tier, Belter, fine for those things that are like, yeah, I watched it and there was nothing wrong with it, but I didn't love it. Not great for stuff that, you know, had a weaker side. And then shit. The kind of shows that you think back on and go, I remember that. It was shit. So kicking off with Art Attack. Now, bear in mind, I'm probably going to adjust these as we go on, but Art Attack probably has to go straight into Belter, doesn't it? Art Attack was a lot of fun. Art Attack used to involve a lot of really fun crafty things, which I never really took part in, but I liked watching them. The thing I really liked watching on Art Attack was when they'd make a giant thing, and then you'd watch him build it bit by bit. Now, I'm going to shatter some of your childhoods right now. Now, I can't find the article, but I did read once an interview with people that worked on Art Attack, and they informed me that it was all built backwards. By that, I mean they basically finished the thing, and then they took off little bits and then filmed him adding those, and then they basically reversed the footage and chop it up in editing. Makes sense. Would have been pretty hard to make all that stuff without some kind of drone camera or a helicopter going, to the left! No, you asshole, that doesn't look anything like a footballer! Start again! So, I guess it makes sense, although it definitely has sort of destroyed a small portion of my childhood that thought, isn't that cool? You can make anything on a beach. You can't. Live and Kicking. Now, I actually don't remember anything about Live and Kicking other than one thing. I'm fairly certain it would only come on TV on Saturday mornings, but I have very fond memories of being maybe 5 or 6 in the kitchen with my brother and my parents, and when Live and Kicking would come on, we'd boogie to it. How could you not love this? It's a belter! Maybe just for that I have to put it in Belter. I might move that because, like I said, I don't remember a thing about the show other than that intro. But still, a good memory for me, so it's going in Belter for now. Bernard's Watch. I've got to reserve God tier for some very select things, but for me, Bernard's Watch is definitely up there with a Belter or God tier. I'll stick it in Belter for now. Everything's a Belter so far. Bernard's Watch, for those of you who don't remember, was about a boy who found a magical pocket watch that could freeze time when he clicked it. Move over, Doctor Who. We've got a more impressive time-traveling nerd, and it's Bernard. I have very distinct memories of a couple of episodes where Bernard's at some kind of children's party, and there's a magician there doing a bunch of tricks, and then this bully, shitty little kid comes up and starts going, it's all fake, I know how it works. And there's this jug that's meant to be filled with water but isn't filled with water, and he starts pretending to pour it on his head and notices that nothing comes out, so Bernard stops time, runs and gets a jug of water, swaps the jug out for the empty jug, resumes time, and then the turd of a kid gets covered in water. Hilarious. Oh, that definitely deserves to be in Belter. What have we got next? Blue Peter. Now, Blue Peter was one that my parents used to make me watch a lot because it was educational. It was probably to my benefit, to be fair, or I'd have grown up to be a lot stupider than I am now. I'm going to put it in fine. I know that's going to probably annoy some people that know that Blue Peter has this huge legacy, but for me, it's fine. It wasn't as entertaining as Art Attack or Bernard's Watch, but it's not bad, is it? It's not great, and it's definitely not shit, so it goes in fine for now. Brum! I don't remember much about Brum other than it was a car that they anthropomorphized, so that's going straight in not great, because I don't care. And what Brum stands, front me out. Biker Grove. So Biker Grove is obviously the thing that made Ant and Dec famous when they played PJ and Duncan on the show. Other than that little bit of trivia, I don't think I remember anything specific about Biker Grove. So that's gonna go in fine, because I don't remember it being bad, but I don't remember it being great either. Biker Grove. Chucklevision! Orange justice to that shit. Chucklevision's gotta be a belter. The Chuckle Brothers were a lot of fun. I actually went and saw them in a live show back when I was growing up, and I remember really enjoying it at the time, so they get a belter. Come outside. Come outside.
Look up, look down, look all around.
So I remember even when I was back at nursery, we were shown a lot of episodes of Come Outside, and it was a lovely show. It was nice having Pippin the dog and the woman whose name I don't remember, but it was a great show. It taught you lots of stuff. It was sort of like 1980s Maddie Moat. That being said, I do have a weird memory of this that still lingers. So there was definitely at least one episode, or I'm convinced it happened in a couple, where they would be going about their day, the woman and Pippin, and they would stumble across an enormous shit on the floor. The thing is, in my memory, it wasn't like a dog poo, like a curly little dog poo or a small little sausage of a poo. It was like a human-sized shit. It just sort of makes me imagine one of the producers was curling one out on set because the toilet was full or something. Oh, Steve, we're gonna have to blame the dog on this. But then she'd look at the massive shit on the floor and she'd go, Pippin? Did you do that? And Pippin quite rightly looked back and went, no, I fucking didn't. Did you try asking one of the producers? Have you seen the size of this thing? I ain't able to produce shits like that. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the tier list. I'm gonna put that in God tier. Come Outside is a God tier show, and I'll fight anyone that says otherwise. Dick and Dom in the bungalow. Have you seen the time? Now we all remember Dick and Dom. Gunge, bogies, these guys had everything. I'd love to meet Dick and Dom now. I'm sure it'd be very interesting having a chat with them about what their lives were like back during those days. Bogies definitely inspired an entire generation of people to make noises in libraries and lectures and classrooms. So you might say there's a bit of Dick and Dom in all of us. And I sincerely hope I've got Dom because you guys are all dicks. I'm hesitant. Do they go in belter or do they go in God tier? Okay, they're going to go in belter for now. I might adjust this again, like I said, but for now, they're going in belter. Get Your Own Back with Dave Benson Phillips. Do you guys remember that? The 90s had a big obsession with gunge, which I still don't know what element gunge is meant to be. But on Get Your Own Back with Dave Benson Phillips, you could gunge your teacher, you could gunge your mum for making you clean your room, you could gunge your innocent nan. Amazing concept. Dave Benson Phillips actually started a YouTube channel. I had the honor of meeting him at a couple of Comic-Cons, and he's a good guy. Follows me on Twitter as well, so I'll take that. Get Your Own Back's also going to be a belter. I'm putting that in belter. Was it God tier? I don't know. Probably not. Grange Hill. Don't remember a lot about Grange Hill, I'll be honest. I know it's again like Biker Grove and Waterloo Road. It's all these kind of young British kids at school kind of thing. I just thought it was a bit boring. So you're going in the not great category, Grange Hill. There might be people who fight me about that in the comments, but I just don't remember anything about the show. But I don't want to say it's shit. Jungle Run! Jungle Run was amazing. It was like the Crystal Maze for kids in a jungle. I seem to remember it always ended with them trying to get a golden monkey statue, and if they didn't quite get there, you would watch this sort of trap slowly shut on them, and these kids would be like, Mom! And then that'd be it. They'd be gone, lost to time, and completely monkeyless. I remember really liking Jungle Run, so actually that's gonna go, for now, in God tier. I really liked Jungle Run. I always wanted to be on it when I was a kid, but I never really understood how the application process for those things worked. Were you on any of these shows growing up? Let me know in the comments, because I really want to talk to you about it. Ka-ching. Now, this might be our first shit one, because I don't remember anything about Ka-Ching other than they would go, Ka-Ching! Ka-Ching! The only reason I remember what Ka-Ching is because when I do edits for certain clients, sometimes I need that cash register sound of like, you know. And in my downloads, that's called Ka-Ching. So naturally, it just makes me think of all those irritating kids going, Ka-Ching! Ka-Ching! I'm not sorry, Ka-Ching. You've been relegated to shit. Mona the Vampire. I don't remember anything specifically about Mona the Vampire, other than the intro seemed like it was quite belty and cool.
Show us your fangs. Yay, Mona! Here's a nice normal girl in an extraordinary world. Mona the Vampire!
But I had a sort of weird thing growing up. Growing up, I really hated ugly things, especially cartoons and animations. So for me, a lot of those stop motion films where they look really hideous, like James and the Giant Peach and stuff, really creeped me out. Almost all Nickelodeon shows bothered me to my core. Look at the Rugrats. They're hideous little monstrosity things. I can't look at them. Real Monsters or Little Monsters, whatever that horrid show was called, they all look terrible to me, at least. That's just my opinion. Chill out. But growing up, these things really bothered me on like a core level, and I still can't shake that, and I get that by looking at Mona the Vampire. I was gonna say fine, but we've put Biker Grove and Blue Peter there, and I don't know if this is on the same level. It's gonna go in not great for now. My Parents Are Aliens. Shit. There's going to be people that get really upset with me in the comments about this, but I don't remember anything good about it. I remember finding it really boring. I thought it was sort of an interesting concept that was always really sort of cheesy and lazy. So no, you shit. Noddy. Shit. I can't put Noddy in shit. Noddy's got to go in like not great. Noddy is aimed at a lot younger kids than what I think a lot of these other shows are aimed at. So I don't know, if I'm trying to rate it in the world of if I was a sort of baby toddler, would it be fun? Yes, it would be fun. But is it as good as something like Jungle Run or Come Outside? Fuck no. You're going in not great, Noddy. Pingu. God tier? Newt Newt has become a meme lately, so if I didn't put it in God tier, someone would definitely be getting upset. Raven. Do you remember Raven? Raven was, there's a spider on my wall. That's why I never open my windows even in summer. Where's something to kill it with? Okay, here we go. It's dead. Anyway, where was I? Oh, of course, Raven. Now, similar to Jungle Run, it was sort of a Game of Thronesy style kids action Crystal Maze kind of puzzle game show, but with a Scottish gentleman who would say things like, Jeremy, you're a fat little shit who has failed the final task, and as a result, you lose a feather. And if you lost all 3 of the feathers, I think it was 3 feathers, then you died. Those kids were killed. I do realize that I just tried to associate a children's TV show with Game of Thrones. Please don't take that the wrong way. Raven is definitely going in God tier. That is a God tier show. I loved it. Smart. Now, Smart was one of those shows like Art Attack, but it had a really turbulent history. One of the presenters, up until about 2008, Mark Spate, I don't know. He very sadly lost his partner to a drug overdose, and then a couple of years after that ended up dying himself. I'm fairly sure the show tried to carry on for a year or so after that, but it was sort of too sad without him, so I think they stopped. So we're gonna put that up in Belter. If Art Attack's up there, Smart's gotta be as well. SMTV Live. Cat Deely, Anton Deck, a great trifecta for children's TV presenting. I seem to remember SMTV Live, which stood for Saturday Morning Television Live, very clever. It featured a lot of, like, bands at the time, like Noise Next Door or Busted, people like that were very big in the British youth zeitgeist at the time. They also had a game that they used to play called Wonky Donkey. I don't know what the fuck Wonky Donkey was about, but I remember that theme tune. We'll probably put that up in Belter, because it was a pretty important show for the kids of Britain back then. Now, the Queen's Nose. Now, I don't know if any of you guys will remember the Queen's Nose, but here's a brief summary. The Queen's Nose was sort of one of those typical wish-based stories. So basically, the Queen's Nose was a 50p piece that if you rubbed the Queen's nose on it, you would get to make a wish. In typical wish storyline fashion, one of these wishes would go wrong, and then they would have to learn to appreciate what they had. It also answered the sort of wish thing that never gets done. I wish for more wishes. But then suddenly they get rained on with flour? Is wishes a word for flour? I don't think it is. So now that I think about it, that scene doesn't make any sense at all. But it tried to address the whole wishing for more wishes thing, which nothing like Dragon Ball ever did, so suck on that, Dragon Ball. Queen's Nose is going in belter. I remember that being a cracking show. The Demon Headmaster. Now, I remember the idea of the Demon Headmaster more than I remember the show. The title of this show is pretty self-explanatory in that the headmaster of that school was a demon. Clever titling, eh? It definitely felt like a sort of British kids' power fantasy of demonizing their headmaster, quite literally in this sense. But I don't actually remember anything specific about it, so that's gonna go in fine. The Worst Witch. Not sure how much I care about this one. I know it was based on a book series, but personally have no real memory of it being any good. I kind of remember it being a bit boring, so are we gonna put that in not great or shit? I don't really know. Shit. Aquila. Now, that was a show that I don't remember anything about again, but I do seem to have this sort of lizard brain memory in the back of my head where I liked it whenever it came on telly. Aquila's going in fine, just because I can't recall enough about it to put it in belter or god tier. Sooty and Sweep. Classic children's entertainment that I don't remember anything about, so that's gonna go in fine, because I seem to remember everyone loving Sooty and Sweep, and I think it's actually been going since like the 70s or something. But you know, in typical style of these things, they rebooted every decade or something, so the new generation of children can be traumatized by watching people with socks on their hands. Kipper! Oh, I loved Kipper. I don't think it's worthy of being god tier. Maybe it's a belter, but I had a lot of the Kipper books growing up, and they remind me of a sort of fond childhood, so maybe that's going to be generously rewarded for that. Does it deserve belter? Yeah, okay, I'll put it in belter. Why not? Tracy Beaker. Oh, I hated Tracy Beaker. I know she's sort of a kid with like abandonment issues and potentially trauma, but she just sucked. She's always grumpy and rude, and I just remember as a kid sort of being like, that's not how we were taught to behave, so I just didn't like her. So this is gonna go in shit. Take that, Tracy Beaker fans, I think your show's crap. And last but not least, we have Zap. Zap was sort of like a crap comic book from the 50s brought to life. If you ever read The Beano or The Dandy, it's pretty much that, but they tried to make it real, and it was a bit cringe. There's only a couple of bits I remember specifically. One was called like Smarty Arties, and that was basically like Smart or Art Attack, things like that. But then I remember one really irritating character called Daisy Dares You, who was this grown-ass woman dressed like a schoolgirl, chewing gum and laughing obnoxiously, and she would sort of pull pranks on people. It just, I hated this show. So this is going to go in shit. Now, there's a handful of shows definitely missing from this, but one that I also remember was 50-50, where you would have two schools competing with each other, one with 50 and the other with 50. I don't remember anything about it other than that, but that was kind of a neat idea, and again, that was one of those things where I was back at school where I go, how do I get my school on this? Not that they would have taken part, but I always wondered. Right, let's have a look at this. Are we happy with God tier? Come Outside, Jungle Pingu? I'm not so sure about Pingu, if I'm honest. The Queen's Nose. Does the Queen's Nose deserve to be in God tier? No. And Kipper. Again, I might move Kipper down to fine. I have to be careful not to look at these too much with nostalgia goggles, because I remember liking Kipper, but I don't remember anything specific. I remember the books more than I remember the show, and so maybe it doesn't deserve to be belter, maybe it's just fine. I may be overthinking this. I think fine is fine. Not great. Brum, Grange Hill, Mona the Vampire, Noddy. I think I'm happy with that. And then shit. These shows fucking suck. Okay, with that in mind, there we go. There is the official tier list, the unquestionable tier list of British kids shows from the 90s and noughties. I'm not gonna die on this hill for any of these, except for my god tier choices, and maybe some of my belter choices. Actually, no, I stand by this list. I stand by this list, damn it. If there are any shows that you remember that I didn't include in this list, let me know down in the comments. If you would alter any of the positions of any of these TV shows, let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see any other videos like this, you know what to do. That's right. Let me know down in the comments. If you've enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like and a subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. The video's over. Goodbye.